The Mayans were a civilization in South America near modern-day Guatemala and Belize. Speculation as to the origin of the Mayans exists today, with two main theories floating around. The two theories being whether the Mayans came from nomadic people remaining from the Olmecs or that they simply just appeared there. In Mayan culture, their existence stems from a rather different path. The Mayans believed that they were handcrafted by the gods. Huracan blew wind over the seas, causing land to rise. Then Shapiakok and Shamukanay helped Huracan make plants, animals, and eventually humans. First, the gods made a man out of clay, but he melted in water. Then they tried wood, but he was dull and burned with fire. Finally, the gods tried yellow and white maize flour to make dough. That final draft worked. The god Itzamna is credited with gifting humans tools, fire, and other foundations of life. Much like the creation of life, the Mayans also credit their gods with their government. The beliefs that the Hala Unik, or ruler of the Mayan city-states, was chosen and given to the right to rule by the gods was present in their society. The Mayan city-states were ruled by kings and priests. There was no active standing army in Maya, but if needed, the Hala Unik could constrict people to the army. The government was very religion-based, with rulers regularly practicing bloodletting and self-torture to please the gods, since they were chosen by the gods. The Mayans used to raid other city-states to obtain humans to sacrifice. Mayan city-states were very independent, the most well-known being Chichen Itza and Tikal. As discussed, Mayan society was very religious in nature. Maya society was an animistic society, meaning that they believed inanimate objects possessed religious or spiritual value. The Mayan had gods for water, maize, and more. The Mayans had many inventions that their society revolved around, the most famous being the Mayan calendar. The Mayan calendar had 260 named days, with 365 days in a year. Those 365 days were divided into 18 months with 20 days each, with one extra month Wayeb with 5 days. Wayeb is very unlucky, with the Mayans fearing it. They would make more sacrifices during that period to stay away from the bad luck. Mayan society had 4 tiers: nobles, commoners, serfs, and slaves. There was also opportunity to move between the tiers, but it was difficult for commoners to become nobles. The Mayans also enjoyed the game puck to puck, which was very similar to a mix of basketball and volleyball. Much like the Egyptians, the Mayans had hieroglyphics. They wrote those hieroglyphics down in codices, usually depicting a deity. The Mayan world was started in 3114 BC, according to the Mayan calendar. The calendar dates back to at least the 5th century BCE, and the calendar itself started August 11th, 3114 BCE, which correlates directly with the beliefs of the start of the world for the Mayans. The Temple of Kukulkan was constructed to align with the 2 equinoxes, with this construction ending in roughly 1000 AD. When these equinoxes occurred, it was a major event in Maya to go worship at the temple. Fun fact, when these solar events would occur, the side of the temple would have an optical illusion of a snake slithering down the side, representing the god Quetzalcoatl, Mayan name Kukulkan. Another important temple that had been constructed by the Mayans was the Agada Phoenix. Agada Phoenix is the oldest known Mayan temple, constructed between 1070 and 750 BC. This temple is both the oldest and biggest known Mayan temple. With a length of nearly a mile and a height between 33 to 50 feet, this was a feat for the Mayans to complete at the time. Agada Phoenix was made out of earth and clay. This temple was discovered using aerial surveying, and historians announced its discovery in 2020. This temple is currently in ruins and located near modern-day Tabasco, Mexico. In the 5th and 6th centuries, there was a conflict between Calakmul and Tikal, with Calakmul coming out victorious. These wars would eventually help lead to the Mayan downfall, but more on that later. There were many important people in Maya, but Kanish Zanab Pakal was possibly the most well-known. Also known under the aliases of Pakal and Pakal the Great, Kanish Zanab Pakal ruled Palenque from ages of 12 to 80. He grew Palenque so much that it began to rival Tikal as the most successful Mayan city-state. Pakal had come to the throne at a young age, and he had lived a young, successful life. However, his death was shrouded in controversy in the modern world. His skeleton had been uncovered after many tests. Historians had determined that his teeth were those of a 40-year-old, but it is well known that Pakal had died at 80. His true age has been lost to history. Another very important and influential person of Mayan society was Jasa Chan Kawil, who united many city-states and brought Tikal back to power. After uniting these city-states, he helped them grow by offering financial and administrative help or guidance. Jasa Chan Kawil also constructed the Temple of the Jaguar, a prominent landmark known today. As previously mentioned, the wars between Tikal and Calakmul played a role in the Mayan downfall. There was no specific reason for the end of the Maya as we know it, more a collection of reasons. Maya had been weakened by the wars happening within and was also beginning to become overpopulated. The Mayans were in rough shape when the Spanish showed up and colonized them in the 1600s. There are still some Mayans today, as the society didn't necessarily end, but the political system did. The Mayan culture and society were absorbed, per se, into Spanish society. There are still Mayan people today who practice some of their beliefs in religion, but Mayan politics and rule ended in 1600s. The Mayans had a very rich history with more for us to still uncover. We are learning more about their society and way of life even to this day.